Today we're going to read Penguins by Gail Gibbons. This is the first book you will hear by Gail Gibbons, the author and illustrator. She has created many nonfiction books with facts about animals she thinks are very interesting. What kind of book do you think this might be? And what makes you think that? Gail Gibbons says that she asked lots of questions when she was young. Now she thinks of questions she can answer for children. What questions do you have about penguins? Think of your questions, and let's see if Gail Gibbons answers them in this book. Penguins. Here comes the penguins, straight and tall. They walk with a waddle, yet look stately and dignified. Some kinds of penguins. There are 17 different kinds of penguins. The smallest is the blue penguin. This is a little blue penguin. It's about 1 foot, 30 centimeters tall. The biggest of all penguins is the emperor penguin, standing at almost 4 feet, 120 centimeters tall. All penguins have black or bluish gray backs and white bellies. The patterns around their necks and heads are what make them look different. Some have colorful patches. Others show off brightly colored crests, like the yellow-eyed penguin, but they all have the same basic body shape and characteristics. Look carefully at all the different types of penguins. What is the same about these different penguins? What special features do some penguins have? All penguins are found in the southern hemisphere. So the southern hemisphere, this is the equator, which is an invisible line that cuts the planet in half. This is the southern hemisphere, and there's a South Pole. This is the northern hemisphere where we live, and the North Pole. The Adelian emperor penguins never leave Antarctica. Others live in New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, South America, and the Galapagos, and many other islands. So here, this table tells you each penguin has a different color. And then on this map, it tells you the different colors, which mean the different penguin types and where they live. Penguins are birds, but they lost their ability to fly millions of years ago. Over time, they began to spend a lot of time hunting for food in frigid waters. Their wings changed into powerful, rigid flippers for swimming. Penguins have sleek, smooth bodies that glide easily through the water. They're excellent swimmers and divers. Larger ones can swim faster than 25 miles an hour. The emperor penguin can dive deeper than any other bird, about 1,500 feet, or 450 meters. So think about the meter sticks that we used to use in class. Imagine 450 of those lined up. That's how deep a penguin can dive. So look at the way that Gail Gibbons drew the penguins so like they're swimming or standing. What do you notice about that? Groups of penguins may stay at sea for weeks at a time. They leap in graceful arcs through the water to grab breaths of air. Penguins feed underwater on krill, fish, and other sea creatures. Their natural enemies are fur and leopard seals, sea lions, sharks, and killer whales. So krill is a small shrimp-like creature. Then you have your fur seal, your sea lion, your leopard seal, your shark, and your killer whale. When the penguins want to leave the water, they can leap up as much as 6 feet onto a rocky shore or iceberg. They climb rocks easily, hopping from one to the other. Sometimes penguins speed over snow and ice by dropping onto their bellies and sliding. What have you learned about penguins so far that you did not know before? A penguin's many feathers are small and stiff. They form a warm and waterproof covering. In really cold places, penguins have an extra layer of long, downy feathers underneath. They also have thick layers of fat to keep them warm. Once a year, many penguins come together to form colonies called rookeries. It is time for the penguins to mate and raise their young. At this time, they make loud croaking and trumpeting sounds. Most of the time, penguins are quiet. What a noisy place a rookery is, with all the harsh penguin calls. There can be hundreds, sometimes thousands of penguins in a rookery. They have no trouble finding their mates. While courting, they chase each other. Sometimes they hold their wings away from their bodies and hold their beaks up high. Usually the same pair mates and raises its young together. When the eggs are kept warm, that is called incubation. What happens while the parent keeps the eggs warm? It is time to build their nests. Some penguins make their nests in burrows or rocky crevices. Others build nests in the open using sticks and grasses. Some arrange small stones in a circle. The two biggest penguins, the emperor penguin and the king penguin, don't build nests. So there are different kinds of nests. What is the most important thing? Soon after the nest is built, it is egg laying time. Most penguins usually lay 2 eggs. While one parent keeps the eggs warm, incubating them, the other one searches for food. Incubation can last 30 to 60 days, depending on the kind of penguin. The penguins fiercely guard the eggs and their nesting territory. So remember that incubation means keeping the eggs warm. King penguins and emperor penguins lay only 1 egg. The female quickly passes her egg over to the male. He carries the egg on top of his feet. The egg is kept warm by a flap on his belly called the brood pouch. He carefully waddles around short distances without dropping the egg. During incubation time, the female swims out to sea to feed. So what do you think about king penguins and emperor penguins? So they lay only 1 egg, and the males keep it under their brood pouch. The male emperor penguins gather together in the cold, dark polar winter. The temperature can get as low as negative 60 degrees Fahrenheit. They protect themselves by huddling close together, constantly moving from the inside to the outside of the group and back to the inside to stay warm. During this time, they don't eat. They fast, living off stored body fat, and can lose up to 45% of their body weight. After about 65 days, the egg hatches. The female returns around this time. It is her turn to care for the chick. She tucks it under her brood pouch to keep it warm. Then the male emperor penguin is free to swim out to sea to feed. And chick. The chick weighs about 11 ounces and is covered in gray, soft down. The mother has food in her belly. When the chick is hungry, the mother throws up or regurgitates a meal for it. Yum. When the father returns, both parents take turns feeding and keeping the chick warm. The chick grows. When it's about 8 weeks old, it weighs around 4 pounds. Now the chick is too big to stay under its parents' brood pouches. The chicks begin to gather into groups called crushes. They huddle together to stay warm. When the sun shines, they scurry around getting stronger and practicing their balance. When a pair returns, it calls with a cry only its chick knows. The chick rushes to its parent. Mealtime! The chick is fed 1 huge meal every few days. It takes time for parents to make each trip out to sea for food. All penguins are raised in similar ways. When the chicks are 3 to 10 months old, they begin to lose their gray down and grow adult feathers. Now they are called fledglings. Off they go to live on their own. They learn to hunt and survive without the help of their parents. In about 4 years, they will return to raise their own young. At one time, the number of penguins was declining. Eggs were harvested and penguins were hunted for their skins. Their fat was boiled down to make oil. Think about what you just heard. What could the word declining mean? Declining means that the number went down, that the number of penguins went down. Today's penguins are in danger. Sometimes oil spills coat their feathers. Overfishing reduces their food supply. They get tangled in fishing nets. Tourists can do harm to colonies of penguins by disturbing them. Now there are laws to help protect them. People work together to help penguins survive in our modern world. Some areas have been named penguin sanctuaries. Penguins can be found in zoos and aquariums. People working there care for penguins in a clean, safe environment. It is fun to watch penguins play. I like to watch penguins swim. Penguins. So here's some facts about penguins. The first penguins lived about 40 million years ago. Prehistoric penguins stood about 6 feet tall. The largest penguin is the emperor. It can weigh about 90 pounds. King penguins can live to be 20 years old. The smallest penguin is the little blue or fairy penguin. It weighs about 3 pounds. There are 17 kinds of penguins. The 5 not illustrated early in the book are the erect-crested penguin, the royal penguin, the fjordland penguin, the snares-crested penguin, and the Peruvian penguin. So we know that Gail Gibbons writes her books based on a question. What question do you think Gail Gibbons had when she started this book? Now, what parts of this book would you like to read again, and why? Like some other animals, penguins are in danger. What can people do to protect penguins?